Okay, so update number three on the shitbag roundup, and we've got some large anti immigration protests going on in England and Australia. Both places I'm really surprised about. England has been building up quite a bit. It's taken some time, and they finally gotten to a point where they've got really large crowds, and they've really got kind of consolidated a backing. I was even more surprised about Australia because they've gone so left and progressive. I thought they were just gone as far as all of this goes. I mean, they were setting up COVID camps and like forcefully putting people in there. They were having to live in some small little cabin while they got over it, whether maybe you had it or not. And it was lined with fencing and barbed wire. It was like you were getting put in prison. But here's some of this
The former
here.
Brexit
I don't know if the sound's all that great.
weeks, during a politically charged summer dominated by the subject of migration. Both the red and white St George's Cross, like these seen on a London street, and the Union Jack have appeared. Supporters say they demonstrate national pride rather than growing anti-immigration sentiment. That's as a tracker by polling company YouGov showed that since the end of June, immigration has overtaken the economy as voters' chief concern. London resident Shreya Joshi says the flags have made her uneasy.
I mean, sure, I would like to understand the reason behind it, of course, but if it's a message to the immigrant community, anything of that sort, then it's not that pleasant. Yeah.
National flags
Another
often
fucking
hang
Indian.
from public buildings in
I don't know about
Britain,
you guys. I can't
but
get a
it's
phone
rare
call
for them
without
to
an
appear
Indian
the
on the other
streets
line.
outside
Hello,
of
Mr.
sporting, royal or
Matthew.
military
Can I speak to
events.
Mr. Matthew? I'm like, for fuck's sake, why can't I get
They've
an English
coincided
speaker
with
on
a
the
wave
phone?
of protests in recent weeks, outside hotels sheltering asylum seekers. The display of flags has been endorsed by Nigel Farage, the former Brexit campaigner whose Reform UK tops opinion polls. US billionaire Elon Musk, who has promoted far-right politicians across Europe, also posted a picture of the English flag on his X platform on Tuesday. This London resident on the streets of Tower Hamlets, one of London's most diverse areas, gave his name only as Jason.
I'll keep the comments very subtle because it can offend some people, but I think it's great. It's getting the community back, getting English culture back. It's what we need
He's
in
got
the
a
country.
Yankees hat on.
And I think that's all I should say, but yeah, leave it there.
In the 1970s,
I
the
bloomin'
Union
love the
was adopted
Yankees.
as a symbol by the far-right National Front Party, which openly promoted white supremacist views. The Cross of St George, the patron saint of England, was brandished by English soccer hooligans and extreme right-wing groups. The protests outside hotels housing asylum seekers in recent weeks were triggered in part after an Ethiopian asylum seeker staying in a hotel north of London was charged last month with sexual assault, which he denies. It follows a wave of riots last summer targeting asylum seekers and ethnic minorities after 3 young girls were murdered at a Taylor Swift-themed dance event. Social media posts falsely attributed that attack to a radical Islamist immigrant.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems here is a lot of these immigrants go after women and young girls as well, because in their culture they're all male dominated, and it's no problem to go. Well, women and young girls don't really have any rights in their culture, so it's almost common practice for some of these people to go after them and do this. I've been reading. I have on my bookshelf here. I already read his books. It was Dan Murray. He's got the Madness of Crowds and another one. Kind of the taking over of Europe. And he said you end up with these roving gangs of Muslims that will just find kids and target kids. And the governments of these countries have become so crazy about immigration that they will go out of their way to hide the sexual assault of a woman or a child. It's absolutely disgusting what they're doing, and it just makes it so you understand even more why the populace is so upset and why they're fighting back. I mean, we're dealing with this in the United States as well, with the trannies going around shooting people or putting on dresses and trying to dance for children or doing drag queen story hours. You notice a pattern between the illegal immigrants and the mentally ill left over here. Their biggest focus point is they target children. They go after children. They go after the most vulnerable of our society. And that's not by accident. That's on purpose. So the story is flags have popped up along streets in England in recent weeks. And the reason this is a big deal is because the government has been going against people and telling them, well, no, we don't like it that you're putting the British flag up. And they're going, what? What are you talking? We live in England. This is the English flag. What are you talking about? Now you don't want us Brits to put up British flags. I mean, it's absurd. So during a politically charged summer dominated by the subject of migration, both the red and white St. George's Cross, like these seen on a London street, and the Union Jack have appeared. Supporters say they demonstrate national pride rather than growing anti-immigration sentiment. I mean, both are kind of tied in, but it's like, Britain for the Brits, it's, type of thing. That's as a tracker by polling company YouGov showed that since the end of June, immigration has overtaken the economy as voters' chief concern. London resident Sharia Jossi says the flags have made her uneasy. I'm very uneasy. I don't think you come again. I mean, sure, I would like to understand the reason behind it, of course, but if it's a message to the immigrant community, anything of that sort, then it's not that pleasant. Then fucking leave. I mean, you decided to leave your shithole country of India to go to Great Britain to attempt to have a better life. You're personally upset that Brits that are born and raised there are putting up the flag and it makes you uncomfortable? Go back to India and fly the Indian flag all day long. I mean, these immigrants, it's amazing to me, and it happens in America too. These immigrants leave their shithole country where they don't have any options. They come here and they go, I don't like how I'm being treated. I'm the same as all of you. No, you're not. If you followed the rules, yes, you are. If you didn't, you came over here illegally, you are not the same as all of us at all. You have no rights. You should have no ability to complain whatsoever. National flags often hang from public buildings in Britain, but it is rare for them to appear in the streets outside of sporting, royal, and military events. August 8th, 2025, they've coincided with a wave of protests in recent weeks outside hotels sheltering asylum seekers. The display of flags has been endorsed by Nigel Farage, the former Brexit campaigner whose Reform UK tops opinion polls. You've probably seen him. You may not think so, but Nigel Farage has been on a lot of people's shows and done podcasts. So at some point, you may not remember, but you've seen some sort of interview with him. U.S. billionaire Elon Musk, who has promoted far-right politicians across Europe, also posted a picture of the English flag on his X platform on Tuesday. He's been pretty vocal on X about all of this going on. This London resident on the streets of Tower Hamlets, one of London's most diverse areas, gave his name only as Jason. I'll keep the comments very subtle because, and you saw him, he was the one with the Yankees hat. So I want to move on here to Australia, which was even more surprising considering how much they've just kind of bent over and took it, especially during COVID. Thousands of Australians joined anti-immigration rallies across the country on Sunday that the centre-left government condemned, saying they sought to spread hate and were linked to neo-Nazis. Now that you love your country and you want to show support for it, you're a neo-Nazi. March for Australia rallies against immigration were being held in Sydney and other state capitals and regional centres, according to the group's website. Mass migration has torn at the bonds that held our communities together, the website says. The group posted on X on Saturday that the rallies, aim to do what the mainstream politicians never have the courage to do, demand an end to mass immigration. Australia, where 1 in 2 people is either born overseas or has a parent born overseas, has been grappling with a rise in right-wing extremism. This is CNN, of course. It's right-wing if you love your country and you don't want illegals screwing the entire country up. You're a right-wing nut job. We absolutely condemn the March for Australia rally that's going on today. It's not about increasing social harmony. Murray Witt, a senior minister in the Labour government, told Sky News Television when asked about the rally in Sydney, in the country's most populous city. We don't support rallies like this that are spreading hate and that are about dividing our community, Watt said, asserting that they were organized and promoted by neo-Nazi groups. Right, we wanted to put a shrimp on the barbie, and instead we got neo-Nazis. March for Australia organizers did not immediately respond to a request for a comment about the neo-Nazi claims. All they said was, crikey! Some 5,000 to 8,000 people, many draped in Australian flags, had assembled for the Sydney rally. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reported it was held near the course of the Sydney Marathon, where 35,000 runners pounded the streets on Sunday, finishing at the city's Opera House. Also nearby, a counter rally by the Refugee Action Coalition. It's, you know, and we have this issue here in the United States as well. It's amazing to me how these leftists will fight for the destruction of their own company. They will advocate for illegals and illegal immigration to come into their country and just screw it up and make it worse. And they're like, yeah, all about it. I love it. I'd love to hear their reasoning behind it, other than they just want a better life. I don't give a shit. Go make your country better. Work on fixing things in your country instead of coming here and taking advantage of ours and the taxpayers. Our events show the depth of disgust and anger about the far-right agenda. All March for Australia, a coalition spokesperson said in a statement. Organizers said hundreds attend the event. It was the large march was held in Australia, was in central Melbourne, the capital of Victoria State. According to aerial footage from the ABC, which reported that riot officers used pepper spray on demonstrators. I'm going to show you that video in a second. Victoria Police did not confirm the report, but said it would provide details on the protest later on Sunday. Bob Katter, the leader of a small populist party, was attending a March for Australia rally in Queensland. A party spokesman said 3 days later, after the veteran lawmaker threatened a reporter for mentioning Katter's Lebanese heritage at a press conference where the topic of his attendance at a March for Australia was being discussed. In Sydney, March for Australia protester Gen Alton said he wanted a slowdown in immigration. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking stuff up around the world, really. So here's a little bit of that.
Anti-immigration rallies are taking place in capital cities and regional centres across the country this afternoon. In Melbourne, anti-immigration protesters and a pro-Palestine rally have clashed in the CBD, with pepper spray being deployed and several demonstrators assaulted. Hundreds of police blocked the groups from meeting near Flinders Street Station, but members from both groups marched down other streets away from the blockade. There were few police in the area at that time. Large crowds have gathered at Sydney's Belmore Park, with many people waving Australian flags. Police have formed a barricade to stop hundreds of counter-protesters who are marching to Hyde Park from clashing with the group.
Oh, we brought the horses. You're fucked now.
Police officers will be out in force in the city today with the Sydney Marathon and the week.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry, everyone. It's fucking shithole YouTube. I can't watch one video.
Pro-Palestinian rally also taking place.
We have no interest in entering Belmore Park. We do have an interest in, standing shoulder to shoulder with refugee and migrant communities, and then later linking up with the Palestine rally as well.
Counter-protests have also now crossed paths with the anti-immigration rally in Brisbane. Thousands of protesters have gathered at the Roma Street Parklands for a march to the Queensland State Parliament. Counter-protests are planned in many locations, including Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Melbourne and Hobart. Rallies have also been organised in many regional centres. MPs from Katter's Australia Party are leading a march along Townsville's foreshore. Bob Katter has spoken at the rally.
Oppression becomes law, then resistance becomes duty. Yeah! And underneath that was written, every man dies, but not every man lives. Yes. That is Australia.
You got any worries? Because there's no worries, mate. So there you go. That's it's surprising me in Australia as well. And one final thing here. I got to go to my light. I just looked at one. This guy is walking through France, and take a look.
Look at this, guys.
At what France looks like now.
Where on earth are we right now? If you had to drop me off here without knowing, I would say we just landed in Accra or Dhaka or somewhere in Ghana.
The place is
Guys,
trashed.
this is Paris in 2025.
There's now, I've never been to France, so
They're lying
it's
about the numbers.
possible there was always some sort
They're
of,
not telling us the truth. They are not disclosing the census.
debris and clutter and everything else prior to the immigrants. Somebody that's gone can maybe tell me.
The vegetable
But
markets, fruits.
so, he tries to tell him not to record, and they always do this. I watch a couple other videos of somebody exposing the these illegal immigrant street vendors that are trying to sell people stuff in France, and all of them would go, "Don't record here. You can't record here," even though by the law you are allowed to record. You are allowed to walk around and do stuff. So these people don't want to be recorded because they don't want to be identified. They don't want to be shown selling illegally or set up illegally without a vendor's permit or something like that. Something like that, where every one of us that were there would have to follow the law, would have to get a vendor's permit in order to sell in that area. These people can just set up wherever they want, set up cheap goods, and then overprice them and sell them to unsuspecting tourists and other people. So that's the reason they don't want to be recorded. And you'll always see this when you go into that area. That one black guy was going, "Oh, no recording." Like, fuck off.
Yeah. I don't want to document what's going on. Fruit.
I mean, look at this. I would have said he's somewhere in Africa.
He's trying to do his job, and I'm trying to do mine.
I wouldn't have said it's
France. Balance of
France.
safety and documentation at the same time. I've been told not to film countless amounts of times already. Why? If it's just the market, why can't I film? Bro, imagine you come on your honeymoon with your girlfriend or something, you book an Airbnb, and you end up in this part of town and you don't know. Like these two over here.
We can we use the Western alphabet, and we have English and French share some similarities.
I mean, these European countries have allowed a takeover.
Symbols or
Japanese or something.
And
we wouldn't know what to do.
That's what we're fighting back against here in the United States. It's just a crazy thing. And you let the third world in, and you have... I mean, this is another one of... There's been a really big instance of pickpocketers in Italy. And these immigrants, or these illegals, will wait for... I guess they targeted an American couple, and he ended up grabbing her by the hair and holding her. There was another video going around of an American woman who got pickpocketed, grabbed the woman that got her by the hair and waited for police to show up. They're having a huge epidemic in Italy of pickpocketers that are not from there. So much so that the Italian people started stepping up and just walking on their own time and patrolling and looking for pickpocketers and calling them out and letting everybody know and calling police. So it's this has got to be dealt with. It's not racist to feel strongly about your country, want people to come in here legally and follow the rules. You have to have some skin in the game in order to care about what you're doing. So if you follow the immigration policy, you pay the amount that's requested, you take the citizen test and go through whatever the country does, you've got some skin in the game. You have followed the process and you feel strongly about what you're doing. But when you just sneak in illegally and you decide to take advantage of the taxpayers there and handle things the way that you do, you don't have any skin in the game. So it doesn't matter about following the laws. It doesn't matter about who you're hurting or who you're going after. It just matters about doing things that benefit yourself, and you don't care who you hurt and who you steal from. And that's why legal immigration is so important. Show us that you want to be here and you want to follow the rules, and you're gonna participate like every other citizen that's already here that has to follow the rules. That's why the immigration is so important. All right, more updates coming up, and we'll see you guys soon.